Good morning, everybody. We just had a last minute thing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morgan.
It is so nice to see everybody here. And Jennifer's back and she brought a friend.
Yes.
You may notice Deb is not here. And Deb and Justin are going to be on the prayer list. But because of that, we're doing music a little different today. Susan is multi-talented with her voice and guitar and creativity and allowing spirit to flow through. And so she was the one playing the prelude, and we've got some music prepared for today, so fear not. I think I see some new faces, but is there anyone here in person for the very first time today that might be willing to raise their hands? Welcome. We just want you to know that Unity is a place for empowered spirituality, where we support positive spirituality and recognize that each person is on their own unique spiritual journey. So no one here is going to tell you what to believe, but you are going to meet a lot of heart-centered people that are just living the best that they possibly can with their spirituality, whatever it looks like to them. And if you weren't aware, we don't have a traditional pastor or a hierarchy kind of situation. This is community created. So I say, if you want it, create it. And that's what we've been having happen. And we're just really glad that you're here to check it out. And if you didn't notice when you came in, there are some mugs and little packets that say Unity. You're free to grab one of those on your way out. Those are for you to just continue that message of positivity. Once I catch my breath, we can begin the song. The first song we're going to have today is actually a Sanskrit chant, which some of you may have been familiar with or maybe heard before, and if not, that's okay. You can't do it wrong. I am going to invite everyone to lift their voice, whatever that sounds like. I'd like to invite you to fill your belly with air at the beginning of the verse and just allow whatever notes want to come out to come out. The guitar is going to be playing, Susan and I are going to be singing, but this is really the best experience if all of us come together with this intention. It is Kuan Yin's mantra of universal compassion, and that goes in line with the title of our speaker's presentation, The Power of Compassion. So again, you can't do it wrong. You can't sing off key. Whatever notes are coming out of you are right for you right now, and I just invite you to fill your belly and your lungs with air, and let's sing. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Thank you, everybody, for joining together in that. Announcements for today, I covered some of them with Deb leading our prayers, and there it is. Anyway, Michael, could you come to the front, please? The other Michael Colbeck. You may notice that there are some people dressed in banners, and Michael is going to tell you all about it.
All right, so as part of the healing hands and healing hugs that we do after the service, we wanted to just bring hugs a little bit more forward. So anybody who is going to be giving hugs will be wearing a sash like me. That way you can identify who that is if you want a hug. And we'll have some buttons. We can give you a button as well if you want. There's also buttons out there on the welcome table, so feel free to grab one when you leave today. As with all things, the hugs are what we're shooting for, what we're trying for, because the magic really happens with a hug. All hugs are magical, but the real magic happens when you're about 20 seconds in. So science has there's a lot of science behind hugs. So if you can find somebody with a stash that you want to give a hug to, that you want to receive a hug from, and you're able to do that for at least 20 seconds, that's great. But if 20 seconds is too much for you, just start with a second, or just start with 2 seconds. And if you don't see somebody, if you see me and you're like, I don't really want a hug from a guy today, I would rather have a hug from a female, then just find one of the ladies who will have a sash on as well. We'll find somebody for you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Per my usual, I had a little announcement sheet that I was carrying around and I added to, and it has disappeared into the vortex. There it is. Thank you, Angel. Okay. All right. There is going to be no midday meditation on Tuesday because of what I mentioned before. But it should resume the following week. So I put that on the Unity calendar, and that just know there won't be a Tuesday midday meditation like once every 20 years. It needs to be canceled, and it just happens to be 2 weeks in a row here. Common Thread, if you've never been to Common Thread, I'm not sure who the speaker is going to be, but it's open-minded, like-minded individuals, and they'll have an astrology reading and a speaker speak, and then time for community. And that is going to be this Thursday here in the sanctuary at 6:30 p.m. Friday is the Community Connection Circle with Macy Lamarck and her husband Abraham. If you have not been to that before, I highly recommend just coming and checking it out. It's donation-based, and it's all about being yourself, authentic communication. We talk about things, we connect with each other. It's really wonderful. That is 6 p.m. Friday. And all ages, including, actually ages downstairs with the children right now, but all ages are welcome. So if you have kids and need to make arrangements, there is a Facebook event, and it should be in the newsletter this week and also on our website. If you go to unitydesmoines.com and click on the newsletter button, it'll bring up the newsletter that gets sent out every Tuesday. So you should be in the know in addition to the calendar that's maintained. Coffee and Connection with Stacy Allison. She had another event on January 11th. She has a business called Radiant Light, where she's working to get all the holistic practitioners in the area vetted and approved and on her website, so that when people are going for healing services that may be of a non-traditional or holistic nature, she is going to have a fully searchable website. So she has this event coming up, Coffee and Connection, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And if you're either a practitioner or interested in meeting practitioners, please come to that. She's going to have treats, and it was a good time. And this time, the handle on the bathroom works, so nobody will get locked in. All right. Other special events, as I mentioned before, you can find it on our website, unitydesmoines.com, on the calendar, and then if you want to see what's coming up the next week, that's in the newsletter. With the exception of Tuesday midday dawn meditation, which is canceled this week, everything else is on schedule. So enjoy all of that. Let's do the statement of faith. And if you're new, you may notice that we use a variety of words such as divine, love, light, God, source, universe. Encompasses all of what that is, and again, supporting each person's individual experience. So our statement of faith is this. We can all say it together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe, the divine source of all life and love. Next is the unity affirmation, and as we say this together, if you could really allow yourself to drop into that feeling of oneness. Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of the divine light, mighty to attract its good and to radiate good to others. With that in mind, I invite you to uncross your hands and your legs. And just as a reminder of that unconditional love, light, and peace that radiates through you at every moment of every day, we're going to intentionally tune into that frequency and surround it around the names of the people I'm about to read. Deb, Justin, Linda, Angie, Devin, Scott, Jess, Emma, Ashley, Maddie, Michael, Jody, Sarah and family, Paul and Phyllis, Holly, Jeanette Marie, Christina, Seal, and people with struggles we know nothing about. And give some special, extra special love to Phyllis, because a little birdie told me that it's her birthday today. And she's not able to be here right now, but she is with us in spirit. And Phyllis, if you're watching this, we send you our love. And we appreciate everything you are and everything you brought to Unity over the years. She's one of the OGs. All right, the reading for today, Sunday, February 2nd, is taken from Proverbs chapter 4, 25 to 26, which says, "Let your eyes look directly forward, and let your gaze be straight before you. Keep straight the path of our feet, and all your ways will be sure." So many things pull at my attention. The things I must attend to, meeting the needs of others, and even my own pursuits and passions require my time and attention. Setting and working toward goals may sound like a dull undertaking, but it's actually an empowering path to spiritual freedom. Working toward a goal helps me focus and keeps me motivated. I call upon and claim my spiritual gifts of imagination in order to set my goal and plan to achieve it. I use my gift of wisdom to discern the best path and my will to make the best choices. This is the way I use the power of the divine to give my life meaning and make my dreams come true. I look ahead, grateful for God's presence within me. The affirmation that goes along with this, I'll say it once and then if we can all say it together, is this: I look ahead with positive expectation. I look ahead with positive expectations. May that be true for all beings everywhere. Speaking of which, it's time for our next song, which Susan is going to lead us on the guitar, and the words are going to be up on screen, just like with the chant. It's wonderful when we all sing along, and this is an affirmation for all beings everywhere.
May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you wherevermore. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore.
Can we get a round of applause for Susan? Thank you so much for making that possible. And Deb for helping us pick the music, even though she is not feeling well and has a lot on her plate, she's still showing up for us in spirit. And Deb, if you're watching, we are sending you and Justin extra special love too. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker. He is new to Unity Center of Des Moines. His name is Michael Gallagher. You can read more about him on our website and see a picture of his adorable youngest daughter. And please give a round of applause to Michael as he talks about the power of compassion.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. I would encourage everyone to stand up if you're able and just stretch for a minute. It's really warm in this room. I don't know about you, but I was starting to, already my eyes were getting a little bit heavy.
Sleepy.
In the pamphlet, and feel free to sit in the flyer or the announcement of coming here today, it mentions a little bit about my bio and my history and whether, are you able to hear?
That's a little bit better.
Okay, I'll
That's
speak up
better.
there. The flyer mentioned a little bit about my history, and I was hoping that was in front of you guys only because I didn't want to go into it a lot, didn't want to waste a bunch of time on it, but to give you just kind of a real quick overview, I was raised in a high mind control group, so it gave me kind of a distaste for religion, as well as it led to a life in my early adult life of drug abuse, alcoholism, things like that. So the message that I try to carry to folks now is one of hope, one of, what are the tools we can use to get past those challenges? Because we're all the same, we all have challenges. And so when Steve reached out to me, I asked if I would speak here. I was hesitant at first because I don't generally speak to church groups or a religious group, though I am a spiritual person. And I think as I thought through it, when she told me that I could choose what I spoke about, I didn't just have to tell my story. That really is why I wanted to speak here, because I think compassion is something that is a big change agent for all of us, if we let it be, right? And especially right now, where we're in a time in our communities, our country's history, where it's kind of hard, right, with what we're watching happen. It's hard to show compassion right now. Yet it's probably what we need more than anything else. To get into it, I'm having some trouble seeing with this microphone, but compassion is defined as a sympathetic consciousness of another's distress together with the desire to alleviate it. And personally, I like to boil things down to the simplest possible level. Maybe it's because I've acted like a child for a good part of my life. But I think of it as you see when someone is hurting, and then it's followed by an action to help them. And that's the definition that I've often used with my children. And so to illustrate that, I thought I would tell a story about my youngest daughter, Mabel, who's nearing 11 now. She's my youngest of 4 daughters. And when she was 5, she was in kindergarten. I was sitting at the kitchen table early in the morning having coffee, and I was reading a book, and I was researching a little bit for a book I was writing. And I was researching on compassion. And she came out of her bedroom and she climbed up in my lap like kids will do. And I just sat there and held her for a little while, and we started talking about compassion. And to a child, that's a really good definition. It's you see someone hurting and you do something to help. It involves an action. And as I spoke to her about it, I encouraged her to look for ways that day to find someone at school opportunities where she could do that, and she could show compassion. And that was the end of it, and we left for the day. I went to work, she went to school. But later that day, that night actually, when she was home and I was home, I asked her about it. And she just lit up. And if you could see her little face, I mean, Heather will tell you, it will light up sometimes. And that's what she did. She came practically running across the room to me. And she said, today, when I was in the lunch line, I saw a little boy fall down, and I waited. And she said, I felt really bad for him, and I kept waiting. So I wanted to see if she got the action part of it. And she said, and then I went over and I helped him up, and I gave him a hug.
Oh.
Now, as a parent, it touches your heart. But as I thought about it later, there were 2 things that really stood out beyond just that. It was, one, it's really simple. We have opportunities all the time around us to show compassion. And the second thing was, excuse me, it affected her life and affected her experience, probably more than the little boy. She carried that with her. And that's true for us too. There's so many ways that we can show compassion, whether it's holding the door open for somebody, letting somebody in front of us in traffic. We pull up to someone on the corner that's homeless and needs help. There's lots of ways we can judge that, but it's pretty easy. Wipe our feet when we walk through the door, right? Just little things that make a difference. In fact, it's something that's, as I went on studying compassion to write that book, it's tied through all of the spiritual traditions as we look at them. You take Jesus' example of feeding the sick, the hungry, healing them. He saw that he had pity for them. He saw they had a need, and he healed them. Did that go off? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you might be.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to hear me back there? Okay. We have the example in Sikhism. One of their 5 principal qualities is called daya, or compassion, and it's how to live a productive life. And then in Buddhism, something that's kind of close to my heart, we have the example of what the Dalai Lama says. And he says specifically, again, these glasses aren't working very well for me. He said this, I'm just going to read it to you. From my own limited experience, I found that the greatest degree of inner tranquility comes from the development of love and compassion. And then he goes on to say, so for many people, he goes on to say that compassion is the ultimate source of success in life.
Yeah.
So from a spiritual perspective, it's pretty simple, right? We see it in all of our Muslim traditions. We see that it makes us feel good, and that's enough for most people, right? It makes me feel good, I'm going to try to do it. At the time I was researching it, I was in a place, because of my history, that I didn't really have a faith in a higher power or in the universe or however you want to describe it. So I wanted to know what the science was around it. Because I knew it did help, but I wanted to understand it. So I read books, I watched TED Talks and all kinds of different things, read research papers about compassion, how it affects us. One stood out. It was a research paper that was kind of the story behind it. It's been 5 years since I've been in front of a crowd, but I'm so nervous.
You're doing great.
Good. The one research paper that was really interesting, it was about fear response. And it had to do with the theory was women do not respond with fight or flight the same way men do.
Yeah.
And that was thought for a number of reasons, but the main one was all the research had been done on male subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting thing to look into if you are a woman or you have a woman that you love in your life, you have children, you have a mother, because the same is true of most studies around pharmaceuticals, kind of a side point, but it's really, really interesting to look into. But this study went on to talk about when we feel fear, that we have both adrenaline and just left me, sorry. Cortisol. They're neurohormones. So we have those things, cortisol, adrenaline ramps up in our body. So what makes us feel fear, kind of like what I'm feeling right now. But there's other neurohormones and things that help with that. One of them in particular is oxytocin. And it seems, through this study, it showed that it seems there's almost a tug of war that goes on between those neurotransmitters. And so if we can raise oxytocin, the feeling of fear goes down. It has a physical effect on your body. And the most interesting thing is one of the ways that we can naturally raise oxytocin is by showing compassion. So it has a physical effect on us. But the question comes up, why is it so hard sometimes? I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard, especially with people that aren't very nice, right? Put a bottle of water. Having grown up in a religion that was on the fringes of society, I think pointed to the one big reason that it was hard for me. And I think it crosses over boundaries. Everything in our lives was done to make us feel different, than the people around us. When there would be a birthday party at school, we would go sit in the hallway. When other people would stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance or sing the national anthem, we would do. During Saturday, Sunday, we would be out knocking on people's doors. Lots and lots of things that make us feel different. Now, in that case, it made us feel special in God's eyes. It was part of the mind control. But it's not that much different for many of us. Our egos tell us we're different all the time, right? We divide ourselves by race. We divide ourselves by our social standing, our education level, what we wear, where we go to church. All of those things make us feel different. Then what is it that we can do to change that? What is it that we can do in order to feel compassion? And that's actually, before I move on, I made a list of the ways, and I thought maybe you could identify some of these, of ways I have felt separate or different. It's been hard to hand money to the homeless person standing at a stoplight when I think his shoes are too nice. He must be running some kind of scam. It's difficult to listen compassionately to a friend when I think their decision gave them the problem in the first place. That's when you've been a multi-year drug addict alcoholic.
Yes.
It's been hard to feel compassion for a guy on the side of the road who has a flat tire when his bumper sticker carries the name of a politician I don't like. This actually happened. It's not so long ago. I was headed home, this frail looking old man out starting to jack up his car. And there's the bumper sticker. I just stick it. It's different than me. It's something that we can all think about, especially right now.
Yes. Absolutely.
So what do we do about it? That's when we start looking at commonalities. How are we the same as other people? Because when we start doing that, it starts to be easier to show compassion. And I made another list. Genetically, we're almost identical. All the humans in this room are 0.1% different than one another. 0.1%. That's a really small number. 99% of our bodies are made up of the same 6 elements that we ended up with in the Big Bang. and they've been recycled over and over and over again. Yet sometimes I can start thinking, and I don't know if this is true for you, I can start thinking those 6 elements that make up 99% of my body are a little bit better than the ones in your body. A little bit worse than the ones in your body. When it's ridiculous, really, when you think about it. So when we start thinking of our commonalities, it really makes a difference. The Dalai Lama said it really nicely. He says this in The Art of Happiness. We are all 98% the same, all humans, all creatures, and they just want the same 2 things. And when we do these 2 things, think about if everything really does fit into these categories. To be free from fear and to be happy. And so when we think about that, it's very easy to see what we have in common with one another. And I think I'll end, maybe a little bit early, but with one story. It was about a man who we've all had an opportunity to have compassion shown to us. That's made a difference in our, excuse me. One man that made a big difference in my life was a man named Peter Pintus. I don't know if any of you are aware of Peter and his effect that he had on our community, but he was a pastoral care counselor in 2002 or 3, I think I met him. And it was in a drug treatment facility on 2. And Peter had the essence of compassion. I had just, within a couple of weeks prior to that, had lost my father, and I was just a broken human from where I was at. If there was ever a man that could have lived a life of, I just don't care about other people, and I'm going to be selfish, it was Peter. He was born in 1927 in Berlin, Germany. He was a Jewish man. Went through the Holocaust in a concentration camp. Lost his entire family. Yet, he carried with him the essence of compassion. He spent his entire life trying to help others. He was a beautiful man. Unfortunately, Peter never saw the seeds that he planted and the effects they had on my life. I never got to return and tell him about it. He died before I had a chance to do that. But maybe that's the point. We get to plant the seeds.
Yep.
Where they go from there is up to someone else.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you for going outside your comfort zone and sharing your story with us. I read once in a Buddhist meditation, like daily meditation thing, about how it's the people that get on our nerves. This is me paraphrasing, but it's the people that get on our nerves, the politician bumper sticker, they're the ones that help us practice compassion. Because it's not hard to be compassionate with like-minded people that encourage us and feel the same way. It's how do we show compassion when somebody thinks and believes and perceives different? And to your point, it ultimately helps us. And we don't know the seeds that were planted and how it grows later because that's not our job. That's not our responsibility. So thank you so much for that message.
Yes, beautiful.
And I'll give Daniel a moment to bring up the video that we're going to have for special music today. Our Zeke is downstairs. I haven't seen him. There's a couple kids down there, so the kids program is going. If you ever feel like bringing Mabel by sometime, we have a really cool environment down there. And Hillary's to the rescue. Fantastic. You know, and nobody else can be Zeke. That 0.1% does make a difference. That's the part we're going to choose. All right, so all of that being said, if you would like to share your resources with Unity Center of Des Moines, now is your opportunity to do so. There will be a basket coming around. I invite you, this song is a very meditative song about loving kindness. So So I invite you to really sink into that, and if you feel like even closing your eyes or whatever, it's gonna go on for a few minutes, so just to kind of know that's what to expect. If you are like me and do not carry cash, there are a QR code, there's a Venmo QR code in the basket. Also in the entryway, if your bank uses Zelle, we also can accept donations via Zelle, and you can set up a recurring donation that way. So maybe you're joining us online and just want to support what we're doing here, all the events that we have in this building, all the ways that we're to do service in the community that's possible from people contributing. But whether your contributions are of a financial, energetic, or physical nature, we want to offer this. Oh, no, we're not gonna, it's not on screen, hold on just a second. Oh, there we go, okay. We're gonna offer this affirmation together, which is, I am infinitely abundant. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source. Loving kindness for all beings, from the one beyond the stars, through the darkness into light, we behold the gift of peace. loving kindness for all beings, from the one beyond the stars, through the darkness into light, we behold the gift of peace, loving kindness, all the world is like through the darkness, into loving kindness for all beings, from the one beyond the stars, through the darkness into light, we behold the gift of peace, loving kindness, loving kindness, all the world, here it comes through the darkness, into loving kindness for all beings, from the one beyond the stars, through the
Nice.
soak that in, and Oshana, all is forgiven, that is on YouTube, so if ever you need a little reminder about loving kindness, you have that. Thank you so much. I would like to dedicate this offering to do the work of spirit and truth to the people of Unity of Des Moines, and we are grateful. Thank you, Hillary. All right, well, I am feeling very chill right now. And I would like to invite everyone to stand up and follow along as I do the universal greeting of peace from the Gandhi Foundation. I will guide you through the hand motions and put my microphone down. I think you can hear me. Thank you. I offer you peace.
I offer you peace.
I offer you love.
I offer you love.
I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
I see your beauty.
I see your beauty.
I hear your needs.
I hear your needs.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings.
My wisdom flows from the highest source,
My wisdom flows from the highest source.
and I salute that source in you.
And I salute that source in you.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Let us work together for unity and love.
And now I have full body goosebumps. Okay, so I'd like everyone to make a great big circle around the room. We're gonna do our closing song. And usually we hold hands. If you don't feel like holding hands or don't want to for some reason, just put your hands over your heart. But we're gonna energetically make a circle and sing this song.
You know what? Let's just do this without support.
Okay. We'll cramp them. Okay, there we go.
We got it.
All right.
Here we go. Excuse me.
And if you don't know the song, that's okay. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator the benediction is up on screen. The light of the divine surrounds us, the love of the divine enfolds us, the power of the divine protects us, the presence of the divine watches over us. Wherever we are, the divine is, and all is well. Thank you, everybody. We hope to see you next week. Also, as a reminder, this is on YouTube at Unity Des Moines, Unity Center Des Moines on YouTube, so you can refer to it at a future time. I don't need anything with the chairs because no Tuesday meditation. But there are snacks in the community room. There are hugs and energy work in the back. Look for the banners, and thank you everyone for co-creating the experience today. Take care.
Four daughters too, I was gonna tell that too. It's not for everyone.